Okay, we'll go ahead.
So, my name's Joseph, and this is Jesse, and we're going to be doing a video called Grandpa's Cars.
1, 2, 3, 4. Blue bonnets down a long stretch of hill country highway. Windows down, radio up, riding shotgun next to you. You were smoking Camel Lights behind the wheel. I can still hear you say 300,000 miles. You can't beat an old beat up Chevrolet. No, sir.
I might as well tell you the story about the car I have. It's a 1971 Oldsmobile Cutlass S trim, 355/7, 3-speed automatic. It was owned by my grandfather for over a decade, from 2008 to 2019. And so one of the stories I'll go on and tell you is a car had been sitting for about a year, and we went out to try and start it. And when we went to try and start it, the vehicle turned over and turned over and turned over. My grandfather tried to start it and wouldn't run. The battery went dead, and he said, no, it's not going to run this time. We'll try it again another trip. So maybe another month or so passes. We go back, I plug it in, we try it again. Still won't start. That's not like the car. So we check under the hood. The butterfly valve, there's a little choke on the carburetor, got stuck, and I popped it loose. And when we cranked it up, it smoked for probably 5 minutes trying to get it to start. Once it ran, it cleared itself out because the engine was flooded, but it ran just fine.
Yeah.
Jesse, your truck is?
My truck, yeah, I got a 97 F-150 single cab, 4.2 liter. It was originally my granddad's truck. He bought it from his neighbor, and his neighbor had become handicapped, so it just sat in his garage all the time, and so he decided to sell it to my granddad. And my granddad had it for about 3 years, and then noticed that my brother and I really liked it a lot, and so eventually he ended up giving it to us. But I think my favorite story, just of like when I think about this truck is, which I have a bunch, but with my granddad in particular, we were at duck camp one time during the winter, and I had gotten sick because it was so cold and windy outside and wet and raining, and the weather was terrible. Anyways, I had gotten pretty sick, and so my granddad offered to drive me back down to Heber, which is only like an hour and a half down the road from where we hunt. And so we went back that night. And I remember I was running like a really high fever, and so I was just freezing, my body was shaking. And my granddad, he came out, or he went outside and started the truck. And then as soon as I got in the truck, he had it all heated up, because since it's just a little single cab, it heats up really fast. And it was like an oven in there. And before I knew it, I fell asleep. And then when I woke up, my granddad and I were in Heber, and we had a bowl of soup, and then that was that. But just stuff like that. He used to drive my brother and I down to duck camp all the time, so the three of us would have to cram up in the back in there. And but yeah. I've gotten stuck in this thing a bunch of times.
Might want to cut it at some point, idiot.
Oh, dang it.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Look, get back up! Get back up!
Oh.
Just another quick funny story. Whenever I went to get it wasn't my license, it was my no, it was my license. My granddad took me, he was actually in town, and the truck was my brother and I's at this point, so we already had the truck. But my granddad took me up to the DMV or wherever to get my license. And so my brother and I, we loaded up and we went. And on the way back, my granddad was like, well, son, you're a driver now, so why don't you drive us? And I was like, okay. And we had to stop by Walmart. I don't remember why. And as soon as we get to Walmart, I come up to like my first, stop sign, I guess, as a licensed driver, and just without even thinking about it, I just blow straight through it. And my granddad's like, what are you doing, son? And I was like, oh, sorry, granddaddy. And it was funny because, the thing about granddaddy is he's always real positive about everything, so we just laughed it off. But that's the other thing I remember is as soon as I got my license, I was blowing through stop signs and stuff.
Down to visit my grandfather, and he grabbed the keys to the Cutlass, and he said, let's go for a ride. And he handed me the keys. And he lives on a lake, and it's a big cul-de-sac, basically. We took it around the cul-de-sac lake, and we put it back in the driveway, and then there was a sofa that was sitting in his garage at the time, and he sat down. We talked for a while, and then he told me, he said, so what do you think of the car? And I said, drives like a dream. And he said, no car drives like a vehicle from the 70s with that power steering. He said, you can drive it with one finger. Yeah. And he says, until you drive a car from the 70s, you don't know what true American classics are like.
But anyways, we hope you all enjoyed this video of, looking at some old classics in our granddad's cars, and I hope you enjoyed the stories that went with them. But anyways, thank you for your time, and this is old Joseph and I signing off. So,
see you guys.
We'll see you in the next one.
Those old country songs are sounding better than ever before. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like you anymore. No, they don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like you anymore. So you live the kind of life so long after you're long gone, you'll always be there in their hearts, and your love light will shine on. And someday they'll sit around down at John T's country store. They'll be laughing over stories you told 1,000 times before, saying they don't make them like you anymore. They don't make them like you anymore. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like you anymore.